Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael, and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a throwaway account in the True Off My Chest subreddit. The post is titled, "I'm about to cheat on my fiance. I'm currently sitting in a car outside a motel waiting for my fiance's friend to come back with a motel key, and I just received a text from my fiance asking where I am. I haven't replied to him, but while I have my phone out, I thought I'd post here. Today, my friend saw my fiance and another woman in a diner together, looking very close and obviously familiar with each other. She went over and said hello, and my fiance looked very much like he had just been caught doing something he shouldn't have. She called me straight away and told me what she saw, and I just knew he was cheating on me. He has no female friends, and he should have been at work anyway. So what better way to get back at him than to call his friend, who's always giving me looks, and ask to meet up. He's on his way back to the car now. Here we go, update. I accidentally slept with my fiance's friend the other evening. My fiance and I have been engaged for 2 months and together for a total of 3 years. When I slept with his friend, it was supposed to be a one-time thing, which we both agreed on. It was not romantic or anything like that. It turned out that my reason for sleeping with him was wrong. It was a huge mistake, and so I haven't told my fiance about what happened and will not do so. There's nothing to be gained by that. The problem is, the friend agreed with me when I said it was a mistake and that he wouldn't say anything either, but then he came to my house when he knew my fiance was at work. I knew what he wanted and obviously said no, and that I would never knowingly cheat on my fiance, and he agreed. I don't know why he thought I would sleep with him again, but he had actually taken a sick day from work without telling his girlfriend and just drove to my house. So it was 9 a.m. and he couldn't go home without her asking why he was back, and he had nowhere else to go. So we chatted awkwardly for a bit and then he kissed me. Even though I had made myself clear, we ended up sleeping together again, and I've realized I'm in some real trouble now. I don't really consider the first time cheating since it was honestly an accident, but this time is something I don't have an excuse for. I know how this is going to sound, but he left my house at 4:30 p.m. I couldn't say no the second time or the other times that quickly followed. I love my fiance very much and I need his friend to stay away. I've realized I simply can't say no to him anymore. Update 2. He came around again this morning. I don't know how he can take so much time off from work like this, but it was the same as yesterday. He couldn't go home and there was nowhere else for him to go. I hate myself for this, but I didn't even care this time and he's just left after spending the day here. I've told him this cannot continue, but he knows I'm not going to refuse him. So I've decided on a hard limit, which is when I get married, which is happening in September. I've made this very clear to him and he's agreed not to come around after then. I've also told him that it's disrespectful for us to do this on what will be our marital bed, so we need to go somewhere else in the future. He wasn't so keen on that as he doesn't want to pay for a motel room each time and we can't go to his place, but I've told him that it's too bad. That's the deal. I know this isn't ideal, but this is the best I can do in the situation. Yak Actual said, "Wow, that was awful. What a terrible person and group of people." Temperature Exotic said, "This woman is just trash. Wow, I hope her fiance finds out and gets the hell out before he marries her." This next post was made in the relationship advice subreddit by a throwaway account. The post is titled, "What do I do first?" My boyfriend said that he wants kids after almost 2 years and I'm realizing I have to go. My boyfriend and I moved in together about a year ago. I've been very clear since the second date we ever went on that I don't want biological kids. I've discussed it at length with him, and until about 2.5 weeks ago, I thought we were on the same page. He told me he didn't think he could do another 18 years of child rearing as he already has a 10-year-old daughter. She just moved in with us in January. He bought a house, we got a dog together, and I was planning for an entire life with him and his daughter. Originally, he told me he bought the house so that his daughter would have a bedroom. He told me the other night that his entire purpose in marrying me was to have a child, and that the whole reason he bought the house was so we could build towards having an actual family, minimizing the one that we already have. I've been crying in secret for 2 weeks. I finally accepted yesterday that I probably can't stay in this relationship. I wanted marriage, and he's telling me that marriage is innately tied to having a child with him. I can't compromise that part of myself, but I'm also trying not to spiral. My car broke down unexpectedly yesterday yesterday, it's leaking oil from the bottom and I have no savings. I've been living paycheck to paycheck. I've been spending money on our mortgage, 4 pets, activities with his daughter, and paying down credit. I have no idea what my next step should even be. And the worst part is that I love him so much still. He is such a good person and everything feels so normal, except that he doesn't want to get married anymore and he wants to have a kid and I still don't. I am struggling to see solutions. I know I need to leave, but logistically I am having so much difficulty figuring this out, especially trying to sort through my feelings in the midst of it. Edit to clarify, I am not on the mortgage with him. I told him I would not sign anything together unless we ever married. I have been contributing to basic cost of living expenses because I care about him and thought we were building towards a life together. I didn't want him to have to do things alone because I believed we were in a partnership. He has helped support me as well. However, he has also ignored my voice in ways I dismissed and am able to see now. I want to say I really appreciate everyone's suggestions and support. It is really helpful and meaningful, and also validates my decision. Update. So several people requested an update. Boy, have I got one for you. I dropped my vehicle at the mechanics on Friday and waited until Tuesday to hear anything back. He called me on Tuesday afternoon once I was just off work to tell me that he had diagnosed the problem and it was going to be less than $300 to fix. He told me it would be about a week before it was done. I began to make arrangements with a kind co-worker of mine for rides to work, and then that evening I got a call from the mechanic again. He told me that he had gotten hold of the part he needed, replaced it, and that my car would be ready for pickup that evening. Tuesday night, when I got home from this, however, my boyfriend and I ended up in an extremely intense discussion during which he once again clarified that he doesn't give two shits about getting married. Not only did he make this abundantly clear, he actually spent about 2 hours essentially dismissing, minimizing, and deflecting the importance of marriage to me and kept throwing it in my face that the way I feel about marriage with him is the way he feels about kids with me. He said nothing would change if we got married, but when I asked why it matters so much, if nothing would actually change, why wouldn't he just get married to me since it's obviously important to me? I got no response of any substance, only deflection and patronization. It was honestly devastating and I couldn't do it justice typing it out. But I spent from 9 p.m. until 1 o'clock in the morning crying and I sobbed myself to sleep. There was no room for denial at that point, and because my vehicle had miraculously been fixed, I had an out. Wednesday, I contacted a local landlord who I have rented from previously. I asked if they had any units available and they did, within my price range, at a flat rate. She told me she would call me back and she did, and she said I could come in the next day to look at it. Which brings us to today. After I got off work, I went straight to the landlord's office and collected the keys to go look at the apartment. It's tiny, but it's perfect. I decided to take it, and I knew that when I got home, I had to tell him. He came home after me, and when he walked in the door, I asked if he had any plans made prior that evening, and he said no. I didn't want to disrupt anything that he had intended to do with the conversation of me moving out, but it turned out that he didn't, so we had it. I initiated by telling him I was moving out, and when he asked why, I told him that it was clear from our conversations over the last couple of weeks that there have been a lot of unspoken expectations that were affecting our relationship, and there was no way to gain clarity about those while we were living together. In that conversation, he told me that he had invested everything in our relationship, and he asked me what I had invested. He acted as though I had railroaded him through our entire relationship, and told me that he was compromising on having children. But the one time that he asked me for anything, I refused to compromise. He guilt-tripped me again about how he's either having kids with me or he's not going to have them at all due to his age, and this is his last chance. He told me he'll never date again if our relationship doesn't work. He blamed me for having to explain what is happening to his daughter, and based on what he said, I don't think he's going to let me say goodbye to her. He was surprised when I told him that I wanted the dog to stay with him. I said I am doing this because marriage and children in relationships don't have a gray area. I don't see a way to bridge that gap because we want different things essentially, and I said I'm not ending the relationship because I don't care about him, his daughter, our life, the dog, or anything, but I'm doing it because I believe this is the right thing to do right now. I even told him I could be wrong, but I wasn't sure what else to say. And he went back to marriage, not changing anything about the relationship and minimizing the value of it. He said he would still essentially be doing everything in the relationship and committing to it without marriage. And I responded to that by saying I didn't understand how he could make all these commitments and invest so much, but be unwilling to fully commit through marriage. The final nail in the coffin for me was when he said he views marriage as an institution, and he doesn't need a piece of paper to validate his relationship. He said that he, unlike me, was not brought up in a religious environment of sheep that led him to believe marriage was the make or break of a successful relationship. After that, I cried a lot. I went to get some ice cream and I feel better now. I'm going to start moving my stuff into the new apartment tomorrow, and everything worked out at a rapid rate that tells me I'm on the right track. Thanks to the community for the encouragement here. I thought I was going crazy. And then after this conversation tonight, I realized that the only time I actually feel crazy is after I talk to him. I'm also looking forward to having my own place again. Quiet, just for me. I know that I'll still be sad for a while, but I also know that I'm going to be okay. Cultural Shape said, I don't understand people who think the way to have kids is to try and wear down someone who is adamant about not wanting them. I also don't understand people who think marriage is a bigger and scarier commitment than creating a whole person with someone else. This man is an entire landfill's worth of mess. I'm happy OP is out, but I don't know why she spent as long as she did trying to reason with him between saying I'm leaving and closing the door for good. Munchkins and Dragons said the house, the dog, moving his daughter in, these were all showy things he did to bind her to him. Living, breathing, emotional tethers to make her feel obligated to stay with him even if he's an ass. A baby would be the icing on the cake. Conversely, marriage would bind him to her. Being married would make it harder to just up and walk away if he thought the grass was greener, or to throw her out if he decided he was tired of listening to her complain about his behavior. Anytime I read about a man willing to play house forever but doesn't believe in marriage, I assumed that he just doesn't believe he should have to split assets if they break up. Columbine Capricorn said, it's disturbing how many people think that forcing others to have children is for the greater good. How is hijacking someone else's body and forcing a potentially life-threatening decision a worthy cause? As someone who has kids, I respect people who choose not to have children much more than those who force themselves into being parents just for the sake of checking the boxes of adulthood or trying to blend into a traditional social construct. Having a child is not a badge to achieve. It is a journey with another human being, trying to help them become the best person they can be. And OP should never compromise their boundaries. You are allowed to want to be married and at the same time not want kids. This third post was made in the AIDW subreddit by a user named OC Original. The post is titled, I accused my GF of cheating on me. So my girlfriend and I have been together for just under a year. We don't live together, we both work full-time, and we are exclusive as far as I'm aware. About 3 months ago, I noticed my girlfriend spending a lot of time on the phone with her friend Jessie. She says that Jessie is a good friend and that's it. However, she often spends any time she can on the phone with him, even when she and I are out. Their conversations don't lead me to think anything is going on, but about a month and a half ago, my girlfriend said she was going to visit Jessie, who lives 2 states over. I couldn't go because I had to work. Of course, I told her that I wasn't comfortable with her visiting a male friend out of state, but she said that Jessie is just a friend. She would be staying at his place, but Jessie is also a single father of 2 young boys, so my girlfriend assured me nothing would happen. Despite me voicing my concerns, my girlfriend took the trip and shared her location to put my mind at ease. She returned a week later and we moved on with life. However, about 2 weeks ago, my girlfriend asked me to go to our local Target to pick up an online order she had placed. She told me she ordered shampoo and a few hygiene items. I agreed and went to pick up her order. When I got to the customer service counter and gave them her name, they brought out a bag with a pregnancy test in it. Shocked and confused, I told them that this wasn't what she told me she ordered. I checked the name and phone number attached to the bag and found it matched my girlfriend's number, so it couldn't have been another woman with the same name. They brought out the bag with the items she told me to get, and I left without asking more questions about the pregnancy test. Shocked and confused by this because there was no real way that I could have potentially impregnated her, I later asked her why there was a pregnancy test at Target in her name. At first, she said she had no idea and did not order a pregnancy test. I asked her to show me her Target app to prove it, and she said that it was probably her sister since her sister uses her Target account to order things sometimes. She also claimed that women sometimes use pregnancy tests to regulate their PMS or for other things besides determining if they're pregnant. I don't know much about how this works, but she assured me that she's not pregnant and that the test wasn't a sign of her cheating when she was on the trip. The other night, we went out to dinner and she made it a point to prove that she isn't pregnant by ordering a few cocktails. Am I wrong for accusing my girlfriend of cheating on me while she was away? I'm so paranoid, but I also don't have real proof that she did. Edit, I needed to clarify the part about the pregnancy test. The pregnancy test was part of a separate online order. She asked me to pick up her online order at Target, which she said consisted of shampoo, deodorant, and some lotion. When I went to the counter and told them her name, they brought out the bag with the pregnancy test. I said this isn't what she told me was her order, so they checked again and brought out the second bag with the right stuff as previously mentioned. After checking the information on both bags, I confirmed that both orders were under her name and account, so I believe she secretly placed an online order for a pregnancy test and planned to get that later while asking me to get her shampoo. The pregnancy test was not in the same bag as the stuff she asked me to get. Update. I never saw the pregnancy test after that, so I don't know if that truly was an order she made by mistake or if her sister used her Target account to order it for herself. However, I did bring up the fact that her sister lives about 20 minutes from her and has a Target much closer to her, so why would she place an order for a pregnancy test and have the pickup location further from her house? Even if her local Target was out of stock, I find it hard to believe that her sister would order a pregnancy test under her account and pick it up near my girlfriend's house. Update. Thank you to everyone who commented on my post yesterday concerning my girlfriend and my belief that she cheated on me. Summary, my girlfriend went to visit a male friend in a different state despite my protest. About a month later, I found out she secretly bought a pregnancy test. She claimed she didn't know where it came from. I let it go and we moved on. So as an update, I realized that although my girlfriend and I have protected sex, there is still a chance of getting her pregnant. However, I strongly believe that despite our intimacy, I couldn't have possibly impregnated her. Not to be disgusting or too personal, but I never finish inside her because I want to reduce our chances of having kids until we're both ready. That's why when I saw the pregnancy test, I immediately thought she had cheated on me. Anyway, I went into a panic last night after reading all the comments and freaked out, so I went to her apartment while she was at work and I found her iPad. I tried using her birthday as the password and to my amazement it worked. I immediately went through her messages and found evidence that she in fact had sex with her friend Jessie. I'm honestly so devastated by this and I've been a nervous wreck since last night. I haven't eaten and I've barely slept. Yes, I know what I did, secretly going through her iPad and messages was wrong, but I had to know if she was cheating on me and if that pregnancy test she secretly ordered was because Jessie may have gotten her pregnant. Now I'm waiting to confront her, but I honestly don't know how. How do I tell my girlfriend that I know she cheated? Am I wrong for going through her iPad and messages? Part of me feels wrong for this, but you have no idea how much it hurts to know she did this. She was my first real girlfriend in a long time, and now I feel like an afterthought. Edit. As far as I know, she is not pregnant. She wanted to prove this by having a few cocktails when we went to dinner last week. There's no baby involved, thank God. Update 2. So last night I told my girlfriend that I needed to talk to her. At first she kept saying she was busy, but I insisted on seeing her in person, so she finally said to come to her place around 8 p.m. I went over and reiterated how ever since she got back from her trip, things have felt weird. She claimed I'm the one who's making things weird by believing that she cheated on me. She continued to claim that the pregnancy test was not hers and that her friend Jessie was just a friend and they just hung out. I then proceeded to tell her how I know she cheated because I saw the thread in her messages. You came here without me knowing and went through my personal messages? That's so messed up and creepy to be honest, she said. We got into a slight argument as I told her that my suspicions were correct and she was trying to deflect the conversation. I asked her to give me her phone so I could show her all the messages I saw, which were very clear and explicit. Of course, she refused and said, "We are not married, we don't live together, you don't own or control me." While I agreed with her on that part, I decided to end things quickly and simply put her copy of her keys on her coffee table and told her, "You cheated, plain and simple, goodbye and good luck." I walked out and she made no attempt to stop me. Later, she tried to text me and said that she was sorry for what she did. At first, she claimed that Jesse was an old boyfriend that she never told me about, and that they dated years ago before she met me, and that he moved away several years ago. She claimed that the messages I saw were old conversations they had, but I quickly told her that was obviously not true. She swore that she didn't mean to cheat and that Jesse must have gotten her drunk and it led to sex. She assured me that she is not pregnant with anyone's baby. I told her that's good because I don't want anything else tying me to you. I wished her good luck again, and I haven't heard from her since. Personally, I'm relieved, but I'm also upset and devastated by all this. I spoke with my friend Eric, who told me that he had an ex who cheated on him too. But she later tried to contact him years later when the guy she cheated with turned out to be a bum. I'm hoping I can move forward from this. Thank you all for your input. Am I wrong for anything I did or the way I acted in this? Geological Turtle said she dug herself a hole the second she tried to say she had the pregnancy test to regulate PMS. Cheaters always come up with the stupidest excuses. "I'm a mage, fight," me said. She tried to claim the pregnancy test would help regulate her period? What kind of ridiculous cover-up is that? I know sex education is not always well taught, but pregnancy is literally in the name. Good lord, I pray no one ever falls for such nonsense. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video, and thank you also to partner of the channel, GamerSupps. Use code DLAM to support the channel and get 10% off of your purchase, link in the description. I'm sure many of you like me have a hankering for daily caffeine, so go check them out. Lately, I've been a big fan of Titty Milk and Acid Rain, but they've got dozens of other flavors for y'all to try out. Anyway, thanks again for reaching the end, and I hope you all have an amazing passage of the next 24 hours.